Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeffrey Meldon welcoming you to a great edition of Meldon Law and Friends. I'm here with my partner and son, Kerry Meldon. How you doing today, Kerry?
I'm doing great. We're here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and it's a beautiful Tuesday outside, and we've got our good friend Mark Newman here.
How you doing, Mark?
Doing great, gentlemen. Good to be
Okay,
here.
well, thank you very much for joining us. We got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. Oh, this is episode number 45. So 7 more weeks and we'll have completed 52 episodes. So we're really excited about that. And this is the week that the Fighting Florida Gator football team takes the field at the Swamp against FAU, and Meldon Law is giving away 102 tickets for free to Gator fans who want to attend the game.
How generous.
Yeah. So anyhow, in order to get the tickets, all you have to do is go to Meldon Law on Facebook. And our little twist this week is you have to name who your favorite Gator of all times is. So go to Meldon Law Facebook page, and you'll see the contest details, and you name your favorite Gator, and all the tickets are electronic. So we'll electronically transfer them to you, and it's going to be a great game. Saturday night, 7:30, under the lights. The Florida Gators taking on the FAU. Are they the Owls, Kerry?
I think they are the Owls.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I don't know why they would be the
What an
Owls,
interesting
though.
mascot, huh?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Boca Raton. You think it would
Anyhow.
be the Pompanos or something, you know?
So, and also the Lady Gator volleyball team is tonight playing Stanford in a huge match out west. The Gators swept a tournament this weekend, beat 3 teams in a row from out west, and now they're going to play the big dog, Stanford, who's won, I think, more national championships in volleyball than anybody. So we're excited about that, and we'll see what happens tonight. But next Sunday, after the football game, next Sunday at 2 p.m., Mary Wise and the Florida Gator volleyball team is going to be opening up a match at the O-Dome, the Exactech Arena. So we're also very excited about supporting not only Gator football, but volleyball and soccer. I went to a soccer match Sunday. What a fun time. We had a blast. So let's support all the Gator sports, and we are... again, as Kerry mentioned, we're at the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Spurrier's is open now, and if you haven't been here, you have to put it on your plans as soon as possible. It's open from 3 to 11, and I think 3 to 12 on the weekends. Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's open right now, and please do yourself a favor. This is an incredible museum as well as an outstanding restaurant. It's farm to table. It's the best food out there. They don't even have a freezer for anything except ice cream because everything is fresh. So we're going to really rock this fall with Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the famous Visors outdoor bar upstairs on the top of the restaurant's going to be open for the first game, and we're very, very excited that everything is happening here. Right now, it's time to introduce my guest and good friend, Mark Newman. How you doing today, Mark?
Great, Jeffrey. Thanks. Nice to be here with you.
Yes. So, Mark, we've been friends a long time. We met at Leonardo's 706 restaurant, and I know you you were involved with the restaurant for many, many, many years. Let's go back a little further. I know you're a graduate of Cornell. Is that correct?
Yes, the School of Hotel and Restaurant Administration.
So did they teach anything about cooking and running a restaurant?
Well, I used to work in the kitchen. I was a range supervisor. I actually had a job there. So I got that. And I also had a popcorn concession
Where?
at the movie theater right there at Statler Hall.
In Ithaca?
Right there at the school.
Okay, well, that's something
Yes.
I didn't know.
Well, I used to have my bag of 25-pound bag of popcorn in my locker in my little number 3 bags, and they let me use the kitchen.
Right.
Yes, so would pop the corn, bag it up, go down to the movie, sell it. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I made $300.
Wow.
$1 a bag.
And that was
a
in
big,
the 70s.
when it first came out.
So
That's
that
right.
was a big deal.
71.
71.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
What's the profit margin on a dollar bag of popcorn back
It's
then?
about 98%.
Mark, if you could
Pretty
move a
good.
little closer to the mic.
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
It was a very good little business for
Our
us.
producer is
Amazing.
saying they can't hear you.
Can't hear
so
me.
Here, lean forward.
Okay.
Lean into the mic a little
Okay.
bit, okay?
Is that better, Evan? Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So anyhow, tell us a little bit about your journey to Gainesville. How'd you get down here?
Well, I was in Miami, and I was living in a yoga center, and we had a small little wholesale natural food business, and I met my future ex-wife there,
And?
Jivatma, also known as Joanna Vida, and so she went to school here, got a degree as a teacher, so we moved up to Gainesville, 46 years ago.
Wow. What year was that?
I have no idea.
1975? Does that sound about
75,
right?
76, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what did you...
Hogtown Granary, Down to Earth, Mother Earth, all those kind of alternative places were here back then.
And tell us what you did as far as being involved in the restaurant industry or restaurant business or food business.
Well, I always, I did catering on my own, so I always did that. I'd have a wedding here and there, kind of thing like that. I know I did the Micanopy Art Festival, had a little crepe and French onion soup booth. So I always was doing things like that. I met Steve Solomon, my future partner, not ex-partner, my future partner. He came in. I used to buy bagels and croissants from him when he was at Bagel Land.
Okay, was that the one out in Thornbrook?
It was right behind. Right
Midtown.
off Camp-
Oh, in Midtown.
Exactly. Back
There was a
when-
bagel
yes.
land there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Pomone and Debbie. They used to have a poker game in the back. It was all that way back.
So, tell us about the merger between you and Steve Solomon that created the new look at Leonardo 706.
Well, I came into Steve with a gourmet magazine which had California pizzas on the cover, and I asked him if he was interested in the California pizza concept. He says no, they're going to be doing a barbecue place at 706.
Okay.
And because his friend Jack Smith had been very successful in the Panhandle with that.
Correct.
So then a few months later, Art Gore and Doug Bonebreak and I went to Steve's house to look at some display cases. And he said, "What about those California pizzas?" I said, "Oh, I'm on it." So the next day, we went out shopping. We did the pizzas, and he brought in like 30 people. It blossomed in. So I did the 2 nights of making pizzas. Then we did a night of making pasta at his house, and then he offered me a partnership.
And but Leonardo 706 was quite a famous restaurant. However, as I understand it, until you came in, it was quite a different concept.
Right. Well, actually, my first couple of months there, we did the regular, $2.99 all you could eat pasta, $2.99 83 item calzone. That was Tuesday night, slow night, and so that was where we started off. Then Steve and I went to California. We ate at Spago's, Prego's. We went to about 8 different places, tried to see, get what was happening.
So you actually ventured out to California to try to bring something that would be unique to Gainesville back home.
Yes, to be inspired by what we saw. We got a reservation at Spago's on a Tuesday night, and the first reservation was 11 o'clock.
Was that Wolfgang Puck's restaurant?
The first one.
Oh wow!
Spago's right
Did you-
on
was he-
Sunset.
Was he in the
Oh,
kitchen that
he
night?
was working the room.
That's awesome.
He had his Dodger cap on. We were sitting next to Brenda Ficcaro and Andre Previn.
So you were doing research and having a good time out in L.A.
We had a great time. It was the first time I ever saw unisex bathrooms. It
Oh,
was at Spago's.
and when was this?
It was right in the beginning. It was 87.
1987.
Yes.
So how
he
did
had just opened up Spago's.
so tell us how you reinvented Leonardo's 706.
Right. So I would come in. It's when we started. We transformed the kitchen, redid the whole kitchen because it was just a simple, place, and brought in stoves and hoods, and I mean, spent some money, and so I had a plan. We knew what the pastas, the pizzas. I did antipastos up front. I did the desserts. We used to come in at 7 in the morning. We used to work till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We being the other people, but I would work through, and then we'd go out and play tennis because we didn't go to bars afterwards. We had all this young energy at the time.
That's amazing.
Go ahead, Carrie.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but my first job in high school was a busser at 706, and I still remember what Steve told me is never let, it may have been you or Steve.
It was probably Steve.
Never let the glass get more than halfway empty. And from to this day, I always judge a restaurant as to how quickly they refill the water. I know that if
Exactly.
they refill the water quickly, that they're attentive, that they're professional, that they care about, whether I'm having a good time. They're not intrusive. It was really an incredible lesson for me that
Yes.
I still hold every other restaurant to that standard that 706 had. And busing was great because when I was there was a chef named Satchel in the back. He was actually a dishwasher.
He was the dishwasher.
He was the
for
dishwasher.
10 years.
He was my
10 years.
yes. And now he's the preeminent.
genius.
He's
He's
a
a
preeminent
genius.
pizza guy in Gainesville.
Oh.
So 706 has led to. I mean, your legacy is obviously it's still going very strongly.
I know when I used to go to 706, Senator Bob Graham would be there frequently, and all the other presidents of the University
Sure.
of Florida would come all the time. And what I want to do is kind of lead into the break with a little tease. And the tease is you're going to tell us all the restaurants that where the owners used to work at 706.
Oh wow.
Okay, okay, because Mark and Steve have a progeny of restaurant owners, and they
That's true,
worked at 706, and 706. For those of you that were never there, was a legend in Gainesville for 33 years that you were there.
33 years for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
And before that, there used to be beanbag chairs in the lobby. That was the whole size of, and people would be waiting, for, Steve to show up.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be back with the story from Mark Newman about all the progeny from Leonardo's 706, and we'll be back in 60 seconds. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon. I'm here with my partner and son, Kerry Meldon, as well as Mark Newman, former owner of Leonardo's 706. And before we get into the rest of our interview, I want to mention that We have 102 tickets for the Florida Gator game against FAU this coming Saturday at 7:30 in the Swamp. All you have to do is go to Meldon Law Facebook page and enter the contest and tell us who your favorite Gator of all time is. And we are really excited. The University Athletic Association called us last week and said, hey, you want 102 tickets to give away to Gator fans? And we said we'd love to have them, and we know what to do, which is to give them away. So go to our Facebook page, Meldon Law. We're back here with Mark Newman, former proprietor and inspiration for Leonardo 706. Mark, we were before the break. We were talking about all the famous chefs and dishwashers and other people that used to work at Leonardo 706 that went on to open their own restaurants. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I think you mentioned probably the most prominent was Satchel, Stephen Ray, who did a bunch of, worked at the restaurant for 10 years. I catered his wedding over at the Thomas Center. I mean,
Now he's got two restaurants.
He does. Satchel Squared is just opened
over
up.
at the 4th Avenue
That's right.
deal.
The food park, exactly.
Food
nice.
park.
Yeah. I've been there. I've had the pizza. Very good. He calls it Detroit pizza.
Oh, is that the thicker pizza?
It's yes, between Chicago and California or New York, maybe.
There's a place in South Florida called Jet's Pizza that has Detroit style pizza, and it's kind of like Chicago pizza, but
That's
it has the cheese on the top,
That's
not
right.
the sauce, so it's a
Yes.
little different. Yeah,
Leonardo's originally it was the Chicago pizza when Steve first opened up.
I didn't know
And
that.
they had the cheese on the bottom.
On the bottom.
Like in Chicago. They had to change it. They had to put the cheese on top. People couldn't. Where's the cheese? There's no cheese.
but it's full of cheese. You just don't
It
see
is.
it.
Oh,
yeah.
it takes 45 minutes to bake too.
Does it?
Yeah.
It comes out really hot. I'm
Oh yeah.
guessing. Yeah.
Been to Uno's up in Chicago. It was great.
Oh, okay.
But it took 45 minutes. You sit down there and you go, wow. And they go, we're going to make your pizza just for you. I said, well, that's good, But, and then 45 minutes later,
Yeah,
now
the patrons sometimes weren't that patient. So anyhow, are there any others?
Let's see. Of course, the top, Hal and Susie worked in the kitchen, and Scott Chillington did the bar, the owners of the top.
And the top has been incredibly successful.
Oh, what a great place! What
Excellent.
the new back patio that they've done there is just, and Scott's just a genius with the design. I mean, to me, that restaurant could be in any city and it would do great.
Yeah,
we're
it's
fortunate to
kind
have
of
him
it's
I
kind
agree.
of a hippie cuisine.
Yes, hipster. That's I think that's Hal's specialty.
Hipster.
Yes. Well, maybe.
Well, when I was young,
He was a punk guy too in his day. So
oh, okay.
I don't know.
So, and a hipster is a kind of a cut between a punk rocker and a hippie, right?
Oh, look at you! Very good. Very good.
And are there any other folks that we
Of course,
spawned?
I've been going to Mr. Hans now for the last because I have to throw in the plug. They just reopened.
Yeah, they just reopened.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Amy Hahn was used to be over at Chunching.
Okay.
And she was our real estate broker in the attempted sale of our restaurant. So close it was.
Oh.
Anyway, and she's great. So I've been there over like 8 times in the last 3 weeks.
How's the new Mr. Hans or the reopening of it?
I think it's terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Is
been
it
there.
in the same location?
Same location. They've updated it quite a bit, and Alexander's there, and during the day going to school.
Oh, that's the son,
That's yes,
Eric's son.
Eric's son.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very exciting. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Hans is an institution in Gainesville. When I moved here in 1970, Mr. Hans was the cat's meow when it came
It
to
was
a
on
fancy
South 13th
restaurant.
Street. Remember that?
Yeah,
Was
it
that,
was right by
where
the
La
Holiday Inn
Where
next
La
door.
Tienda is now.
Yeah, but when you walked in there, it was pretty high end restaurant for Gainesville.
Oh, this was something. Yes, Mr. Hahn was. You had to wear proper attire to go to Mr. Hahn's.
Yes.
That was very unusual in Gainesville back then.
Yeah, and now it's over behind the Red Lobster by I-75 in Newberry Road.
That's right.
And
I got the downstairs. Used to be a nightclub
yeah,
where Amy
Yeah.
Hahn got married,
Right.
remarried, which I was lucky to be a guest. more lobster Cantonese than I've ever eaten in my life.
So one of my favorite times at Mr. Hahn's was Robin Williams was performing at the University of Florida at the stadium in front of 80,000 people for Gator Growl, and my good friend Albert T-Badgie was promoting the event. So Albert said, well, after the show, Robin wants to, hang out and have some dinner. So I got an invitation to meet with the gang. So Robin Williams is there. We had a round table with a lazy Susan in the middle, and we sat there for 3 hours, and Robin Williams was amazing. It was like he didn't stop his routine. He kept the routine going for 3 hours on during dinner, and we're spinning it around, and I'm sure that, he was had some substances in him that made him very excited.
He had that kind of energy.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
So anyhow, I'm sitting there with Robin Williams, kind of, pinching myself going, this is really cool, because
Right.
he was a big movie star by then. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, now tell us about what the heyday of Leonardo 706 was like.
Well, when we were in our heyday, just after Pizza Palace had closed, Archer Road didn't exist. We had, we only had basically the 2 dining rooms and the front patio. We expanded into the 704 room, which we did the pharmaceutical, and we had like 2 or 3 parties a week. We did the other room where we had the jazz, in the 710 room with the bar, and we did the Sunday brunch buffet there as well.
Now, the Sunday brunch was really Mark's doing. Tell it. I mean, I know the story, right? You borrowed all your mother and grandmother's recipes.
I've catered at the synagogue, and I would put out a real kind of bar mitzvah. Oh, that's what they were. The bar mitzvah kind of buffet for lunch. Everything from blintzes, kasha vanushkas, latkes,
Good locks.
Mark would
Great
hand serve the
latkes.
latkes. That
became our
tradition.
signature thing.
Yeah.
Ralph and Helen Rothschild had the first brunch buffet. Ralph was in the hospital and wasn't supposed to make it. Miraculously makes it. Helen's going to throw a party for Ralph. So I do these, and Helen was the most meticulous person on the planet. Her son is Rob Rothschild, the musician and all-around great guy. Anyway, so she sets it up. She, okay, I want this, this, and this. I'll make some salmon. We'll do, all the dinner. We'll have 20 dishes. So when we finished, and that was on a Sunday morning, so we said, Steve was out of town. Sandy looks at me, she goes, wow, this was really good. Could you do this again? I said, oh, we can do this every week.
Well,
I would come in at 4:30 in the morning and do the whole, the 50-item buffet with Philip.
It was
Finley
incredible. I
coming.
mean, the salmon that you would have out there was this a huge king salmon.
That's right.
And I don't even, where would you even get the salmon from?
Well, we got it from Northwest Seafood.
So it was actually fresh.
Oh,
yeah.
Came in the Scottish king salmon.
Yeah.
You roast it with the the lemon, dill, mustard,
Man,
sauce.
it was so good.
Every homemade lox.
Yeah.
Matt Reynolds would slice the lox every
and
Sunday morning.
more, I think, just as spectacularly was the way that you were able to have the jazz night on Monday and Thursday night for, it seemed like 25 years in a row.
Marty LaQuarrie, our music director, the Marty LaQuarrie. I mean, I
World
watched him
champion miler.
the runner of the decade, according to Runners Magazine, in the 1970s.
60, early 70s.
Right, he was in high school. If he's the same age as me, you're a little bit younger than us, I guess. And and he was in the Melrose games when he was in high school. In
That's
Madison Square
amazing.
Garden.
So Marty LaQuarrie decided he wanted to enhance his musical skills and started calling friends that were great
he did
musicians
amazing.
in.
We had everybody. I mean, we had jazz bands from New Orleans come in, and they marched around the whole restaurant in a procession. I mean, he brought people in that were amazing.
Yeah, I used to go there frequently, Monday and Thursday nights. And for those of you that were in Gainesville over the last 25 years, it was a hopping scene.
Marty did a great job.
We have a couple Facebook comments. I
Why
know
don't
if
you
want-
take 'em,
Yeah,
Terry?
well, I'd like to at least address a couple of them. I guess the first one would be is 706 going to reopen in Gainesville? And the second question is, what are 3 top points that you would give to someone starting a new restaurant? So I'll let you take whatever question you want in whatever order you want.
Well, will 706 ever reopen again would not be in my, ballpark. That's
Okay.
not something that I would be doing. I'm enjoying retirement very much. I made bread this morning. I made a pot of soup for a friend. I'm saying, look what I get to do, and I don't have to be anywhere at any time. It's really amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So it's a great thing. So hopefully maybe somebody else would, come in. If somebody asked, for some help, be glad to do it, We
What
have-
about the top 3 points you'd give to
Oh,
someone
boy, wow,
starting
that's a
new
great one.
restaurant?
It's,
What,
you
go
know-
to a psychiatrist first?
Oh, man. If Steve would go, give you money to somebody else, just throw it out the window.
Yeah.
No, but can you give us some idea?
Oh, I mean,
Let's-
I can't even imagine now what it must be like to do a restaurant with COVID and everything like that. We closed March 30th of 20.
Wow.
I mean, and, so to me, like everything else is, have great people. That's number one. Have great food. Number 2, but people. I mean, if you don't have great people in the kitchen,
Yeah.
you're not going to be making great. I mean, people are the number one thing, and train those people. Really take
I mean,
your time.
you had a really loyal following.
Oh.
You had great people that really cared about
You know.
706 and had worked there for decades.
20, Danny Michael. I
Yeah.
just saw him the other day. He's working over at Supret.
Okay.
Philip Finley's. He went into construction. I had him over for Sunday brunch one day.
And that's a lost art. You don't see restaurants that have that type of
20
personal
years. I mean,
connection.
people, the Reynolds brothers. They were twins.
Right.
Matt's working over at
It was
Ward's
it was
and,
it was a career.
Well, they made it. They were, those were great people.
Yeah.
You show up in the morning and there's Matt Reynolds, at 4:00 in the morning. You go, "Wait."
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, we're coming to an end of this session. We're going to have you back on sometime because we could go on. We haven't even gotten to the funny story part of your
Well,
interview.
it was a pleasure to be here. Very easy. You guys were great.
So anyhow, we're going to take a 3-minute break on Meldon Law and Friends. And again, I want to thank Mark Newman for being our guest on the first half of the show. And Leonardo 706 made a tremendous contribution to the city of Gainesville and Gator Nation. And we want to thank you very much for everything you did over 33 years.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. 2 forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Well, I was in a truck accident. Because of the accident, I've resulted in 3 back surgeries. We saw advertisements on TV, and guess who popped up more often than not? It was Jeffrey. The communication that he provided was so appreciative. He shows his compassion as a human. He assisted us in achieving one of our dreams, the acquisition of a home, and we're here today with smiles on our face with the assistance from Jeffrey.
The Meldon Law Firm from the beginning has been built on giving back to the community. I enjoy coming to work as much today as I did in 1971 when I opened my practice. I don't look at this as a job, I look at it as serving other people. While we're alive, what better feeling can you achieve than knowing that you've helped other people and thereby you enrich your own life? The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
No,
I am calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I am Jeffrey Meldon with the Meldon Law Firm, and what a great show we have today. I want to welcome our guest for the second half hour. To my left is Melissa Solavia. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's
okay. And Katherine Neal, and my very good friend Mark Zamora. How are you doing, Mark?
Great. Good
So
to be here.
these guys are all lawyers, and so we're gonna talk about their careers, what they do, and also what their interests are. And you're gonna find that this is a fascinating second half of our show. I want to again mention that Meldon Law Facebook page, we're giving away 102 tickets to the upcoming Florida FAU game this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. in the Swamp. South Florida is eligible. Just go to Meldon Law Facebook and tell us who your favorite Gator player of all time is. So we're very excited about that. Gator volleyball, Mary Wise, great team as usual. They're currently ranked number 6. They may move up depending on how they do against Stanford tonight. That game is 5 o'clock Eastern time if you want to tune in and see what's going on. Mary Wise just won her 900th volleyball match with the Florida Gators. One school, she's the only the second female volleyball coach in history to win 900 matches, and she did it all at one school. So hats off to Mary Wise. She was a guest here in Meldon Law and Friends about 6 months ago, and what an incredible woman Mary Wise is. So let's kudos to Mary for winning her 900th match for the Florida Gators. Anyhow, we are very, very excited today. Some of our favorite people are lawyers. We run into them all day when we're not.
Everyone's favorite people.
When we're not on the air, we actually practice law, and we have a good time doing it. And I want to kind of go around the room and welcome everybody. Catherine, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
So I understand that you went to law school with my son, Carrie.
Yeah, somehow overlooked that fact until very recently. So today, actually. I don't know how we didn't make that connection. But I did, and apparently we started at the same time and ended right around the same time. And you know, he does look very familiar now that you pointed it out.
So
Yeah, I had a different last name then. That was 2 last names ago.
Okay, well, we all have our stories. So, Catherine, I know you're a top litigator at the Carey Law Firm, and that one of the things I wanted you to talk about is your journey from law school to where you're at now. You went to Stetson Law School,
right.
Which is in Gulfport, Florida,
In the
which
St.
is
Petersburg area.
It's St. Petersburg area.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
people know Gulfport. What's that? Well, anyhow, as I understand it, Stetson University, which the main campus is in DeLand, in somewhere in the 1950s, a generous graduate donated a huge property. I think it was maybe a hotel formerly, and it became the College of Law for Stetson. It became their campus, and it's the only part of Stetson, I think, that's not in DeLand.
Right. Well, so now the law school actually has a campus up in Tampa near the 2nd District Court of Appeals. But it is, you can tell that it used to be a hotel because it's absolutely beautiful. They have like a watchtower, or right? It's sort of a tower, and just the most beautiful architecture from like the 1920s. It's beautiful. It's a really great school. And at least when Carrie, your son Carrie, and I went there, it was the #1 trial advocacy school in the country.
Yeah, it was, what's the name, Mickey, who was the,
Smiley.
pardon? Mickey Smiley was legendary, right?
Right.
I know he trained Chris Searcy and a bunch of other great trial lawyers. So Stetson Law School had the reputation of being one of the top trial preparation law schools in the whole country.
Right.
And
Right.
guess what? You went into being a trial lawyer.
Go figure. But that's why I chose Stetson, because I knew I wanted to be a trial lawyer. So for the audience's purposes, a lot of lawyers never go into a courtroom. They're not trial lawyers, but I knew that that was the part of law that was most interesting to me, that my skill set might be best suited for. And so that's actually why I chose Stetson, was so that I could go to a school that really emphasized on trial skills and courtroom skills.
Now, you said your skills. What are some of the skills that you think are needed to be a trial lawyer?
Well, a charming personality like mine, naturally. You know, a really good trial lawyer thinks on their feet. And, you know, as much as we plug Stetson as a great trial advocacy school, I don't know that you can teach that, you know? To some extent, that's just
You have it or
kind
you
of your
don't.
nature, right? So you've got to be able to pivot fast, sort of like basketball, right? You have to be able to change on a dime and go down whatever necessary path necessary to advocate for your client. But also you have to be, at least for trial lawyer purposes, you have to be really good and comfortable speaking in front of strangers. You know the kind of the person you know in your life who's really good at making friends no matter where you go. That person has the personality to be a trial lawyer. Whether they have the know-how, you know, and the brains for it is something else. But that's the personality you're looking for, like someone who can just light up a room and make friends no matter who they are, be it the principal or the janitor. The person who treats those two people equally, that's a person who could be a trial lawyer.
And that's a very good point, that, you know, when I'm downtown and, you know, somebody who's homeless comes up to me and asks me, you know, for some help, I always give them some help. And then I give them my card. And the reason is I want to be friends with everybody because and I've picked up some really good cases over the years from referrals from people that you would, you know, you wouldn't expect.
Right,
to
and
happen.
I think it's so important for spiritual reasons and also business reasons. It's so important to treat everybody the same and to, you know, assume that they have just as much importance and the ability to send you business as anybody else. You know?
So tell us about the early parts of your career and your first trial.
Oh, my stars, you want to hear a good story. Okay, so my very first trial, I have to give credit to my other business partners besides Melissa here, two other of our business partners, Tom Carey and Jody Leisure, because from the beginning, they threw me in a courtroom and let me try cases, which allowed me to get board certified much younger than typical. So literally from the first month that I worked for the firm as a lawyer, as opposed to just a law clerk, I got to try cases. So my very first trial, I was terribly nervous. And I got up to do opening statement. And I was telling the jury what they were going to hear, what pieces of evidence they would be able to evaluate. And I said to the jury, I cannot make this up. I said, my client will give testiphony. And I said testiphony. instead of testimony. And there was a chuckle from the defense side of that. It was mortifying. And the best, well, let me just tell you, fast forward, we creamed the defense on that case. I mean, we got an awesome verdict on that case. But what was the best part about that story was my business partner, Jody Leisure, on the next break in the trial, went up to the court reporter and said, "Did you get that, the testimony?" And she said, yeah, I heard that. And she said, "Did you type it though? Or did you fix it to say testimony?" And she was like, "Well, I fixed it." And she said, "Don't go back and change it to testimony, and then I want to order the transcript from the opening statement." And she blew that thing up as big as you can imagine and had it framed. my first horribly embarrassing opening statement where I said my client would give testimony. I still have it.
And so there's a lesson there, and that the jury understands that we're all human, that we all make mistakes, and sometimes if you just roll with the punches and you just act, you make fun of yourself or you laugh about it, right?
Yep, and that's what I did. And I snuck in the fact that it was my first trial and I was nervous, which I think was a help. That was the defense didn't object. They probably should have, but
yeah,
I slid it in after my
so
my mistake.
Oftentimes the jury likes to help an underdog. And what I found when I started trying cases as a young lawyer, I didn't know my way around a courtroom, and I would fumble around and do everything, but I was prepared and I worked really hard, and the jury picked up on the fact that I cared for my clients. And I learned very early that it was good to put your arm around the client, to touch your client, to make the client seem human, to be a human being with your client in front of the jury. Are those some of the things that you also utilize?
No, I never have done any of that. Never touched my client, not once. Yeah, absolutely. But that's, Jeffrey, I imagine that's not hard for you. You're not pretending when you put your arm around a client. You're putting your arm around a client because you actually like them, right? You wouldn't have ended up in a courtroom spending all those hours and all that money on that particular case if you didn't like that person, right? I mean, that's what I'm talking about when you talk about like a natural trial lawyer, the type of person who would want to put their arm around somebody who needs justice or who's had a bad day, right? That's just organically you, right?
Yeah.
And knowing these other folks in the room, I can tell you it's organically us too.
So, and I think that's really an important lesson. Many folks that are listening or watching the show today think that every lawyer is in the trial just in a courtroom all the time, like on TV, and that they also think that the trial starts at 8 o'clock at night and it's done at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
And no, it's like this long, laborious 2, 3, 4 year process, and then you pick the jury, and then you start the case, and it may last 2 days, it may last 2 weeks, it may last 2 months, and it goes on and on and on, and there's nothing quick about it,
right.
Generally. However, the process works.
It does. It's the best we have, and I'm pretty proud of it. Our justice system
Well,
does work.
I'm very excited to have you on the show today. We're going to talk more with both yourself, Melissa, and Mark in just a few minutes. We're going to take a 60-second break, and then we'll be back on Meldon Law and Friends. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we. Welcome back to Meldon Law Friends. Again, we have 102 tickets to give away for this coming Saturday's opening football game in the Swamp. The Gators are playing FAU 7:30 Saturday night. Go to Meldon Law Facebook page and give us your favorite Gator of all time, and you will be eligible to win 2 tickets for this very exciting opening game. Anyhow, we are here with some very fine trial lawyers. The firm name is Carey, Leisure, and Neal. The practice is primarily in the Tampa Bay area, including Clearwater, St. Pete, Tampa, and all the areas around that Tampa Bay market. And at this time, I wanted to ask Melissa a few questions about how you got started in law.
So I started working for Tom Carey and Jody Leisure when I was 18 or 19 years old as a receptionist. And I thought I wanted to go to law school. I was in the midst of my undergrad in business administration, and they were generous enough to give me a job as a receptionist. And so I started working with them. Worked with them through my undergrad, then decided I wanted to go out and spread my wings for a few years. Eventually found myself back at the law firm and worked at the law firm all the way through law school. So I would work full-time during the day, go to law school at night, and then I just stayed, you know. So it's a wonderful firm, and, you know, we're really a family, and so I don't want to be anywhere else.
So you actually started, I was not from the bottom, but because
I did. Well, yeah.
you know what? What's interesting is we tell everybody that the receptionist is the most important position in the firm.
Absolutely. Your receptionist will make you or break you. Absolutely. But I was the kid in the office doing the grunt work and, copying papers and refilling the refrigerator and doing that stuff. So
you were working in the offices in Clearwater, right?
Yes.
And where were you going to law school at?
At Stetson, same as Katherine and Carey. So I did the part-time program that was at night. So I would work during the day, and then I'd leave the office at 4 or 4:30. I would drive to Gulfport, attend classes, and go to the library, and go to sleep, and wake up and do it all over again.
Now, did you have any kids at that time?
I didn't. So I ended up, my husband and I got pregnant with my first child my last year of law school. So I took the bar exam with a 3-month-old baby at home, which was interesting. Luckily, I have a fantastic husband who's a wonderful father, and so it all worked out.
Well, that's exciting. I know both you and Katherine have big families and lots of kids.
We have a basketball team
blessed.
between the two of us. We do.
Yes.
We have a full court and a full bench between the two of us. 9 kids between the two
So
of
if
us.
Gators basketball needs some scrimmaging,
I mean,
it's like
just saying.
we can help.
Yeah.
So
we can.
it amazes me because you're both, outstanding attorneys and very, very busy, and somehow you're managing to keep, the balls in the air, juggling it. How do you do that?
Well, they always say if you want something done, give it to a busy mom. And that's just the truth. I mean, I think we thrive under pressure. If we didn't have a full plate, I don't know what we would do with ourselves. Right. So we luckily have amazing support systems. We have an incredible staff at the office. We have an incredible team at home helping support us and loving on our kids when we can't be there and allowing us to give our children 150% when we are there. So we're really kind of blessed.
Yeah.
Well, I know it. What do they say? It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, so true.
Yes.
So you guys have figured
Shout
out
out
a way
to my village.
Yes.
Huh?
Shout out to Heather.
So you've put
It's
your
true.
village together,
Yes,
it's
right?
true. Yes.
Because you have a whole team to help make things move around, both at home and the office.
Right.
We have wonderful husbands. We have wonderful partners with childcare, Heather and Rhonda, and so we're very lucky.
And now,
We are. Thank
when
goodness.
when you graduated law school, did you came back to the Carey Law Firm at that time?
I'm not not sure that Mr. Carey even offered me a job. I'm not really sure if that even happened. I think what happened is I got my diploma, I was sworn in, and I just cleared out an office and made myself a desk and painted my name on the front door and started working. But about 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to make partner, and he definitely offered me the partnership.
Yes.
So I got that in writing. I
So
became
he's clearly
legit.
aware that she works with us
Yes,
now.
I became completely legitimate at that moment. It was
Well,
a really good moment for me.
You know, there's something to be said for just showing up. Okay? And a lot of young people will come to me and they'll say, I want to work in this. I want a job. I want to learn this. And I'll say, well, go do an interview, see if you can get the job. And they said, well, what if I don't get a job? I said, well, then turn around and tell the person you're willing to work for free. Mm-hmm. And I told my daughter that. She graduated law school, and she wanted to go into immigration law. And I met a great immigration lawyer from South Florida at a Florida bar event. And I said, we got to be friends. He gave me his card. I said, my daughter's interested in going to immigration law. Would you talk to her about, doing some law clerking or something? And he said, sure. And same thing happened. She went there. She said, I'd like to work. He said, well, we don't have anything right now. She says, well, I want to volunteer just so that I can, get in the door. And 2 or 3 weeks later, it was summer break from law school, and they hired her and started paying her $500 a week to show up at the law firm. And
Absolutely.
That's great.
So it's not exactly the same as your story, but
Yeah.
there's similarities, right?
Yeah.
The most important thing about success is showing up.
Yes, or cleaning out the office and painting your own name on the door. Either way, it works.
So it's really much different now because women in the courtroom and women in the legal profession are leaders in the community. Over half of the lawyers that come out of law school now are women, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
And you have a very strong presence in your law firm with women. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like a harem.
Predominantly.
Our senior partner, Tom Carey, is obviously male. We have one business partner besides him who's male, Matt Carney. He's an awesome trial lawyer. And then the rest of us are chicks. And we get stuff done. We are the get stuff done gender. Yes. No offense, but we are. I would still like to see more women trial lawyers. We have us, of course, but when I show up for trial, for cattle call for trial on a Monday of trial week, there's still no other women. I think, maybe if I get lucky once a year, there'll be another one. So it would be nice to see more women in the courtroom. As opposed to those other lawyer jobs that are more behind the scenes or at desks, behind the desks, contracts, etc. It would be nice.
I'll tell you, it's amazing to me the changes that I've seen in my lifetime because when I went to law school, there were 125 of students in my first year law school class. There was one female student.
Poor girl.
Wow.
Can you
Okay.
imagine?
But the dating opportunities.
Well,
The ratio was.
yeah.
I mean, if she didn't have a man after that, there's something wrong.
Well, she was very, very attractive woman. We found out very soon she was married.
Well, then. I'd hate to be her husband.
So anyhow, I have both my son and daughter are both attorneys, and I'm very proud of both of them. My daughter has just done amazing things with her career, and I always encourage both women and young men to pursue their education while they're young, because as we know, right, it's easier when you're in your 20s. Right. To go off to school and just figure out a way to get through it and do it. As soon as you start having a family and responsibilities and finances and you're in your 30s, it's doable, but it's more challenging.
I would not recommend taking the bar exam with a 3-month-old at home. I do not endorse that. Get your education early, people.
So anyhow, it's pretty exciting. I want to get real quickly, to our next guest, who is also involved with the Carey Leisure Neal Law Firm, Mark Zamora. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Well, thank you, and I've got 5 minutes, so I'm not talking law.
Yeah, why don't? So Mark is a diehard Gator. Let's talk Gator talk for a little while. Tell us about what it was like when you went to the University of Florida.
Well, I'm in the raffle for the tickets. So, the hardest part is if you're watching this, you have a certain era of player that you really admired. So, my guy who's closer to me in age is Emmitt Smith. It all begins and ends with Emmitt. The guys that followed him, we're blessed because, the school in Tallahassee doesn't have maybe but a couple of names and a coach who is well known. Here, we're blessed. You look at all the helmets for Spurrier, and then you look at Danny Werfel, and then you look at Tim Tebow, and Jack Youngblood, and Wilbur Marshall, and you could just go on and on and on. And I think the neatest thing as a Gator is that we have 3 Heisman trophies that were awarded and earned by 3 preacher's sons.
Wow, I never thought of that. Yeah, Danny
not a
Werfel.
coincidence.
Right. Danny Werfel first, and then Steve Spurrier in '66.
Yep.
Dad was a preacher in Tennessee.
Johnson City.
And then Werfel, where is he from? New Orleans
Fort
area?
Walton Beach.
Fort Walton Beach.
You see,
right?
I have no life, obviously.
And then Tim Tebow
From Jacksonville.
from Jacksonville, and they were all preachers. So, what does that tell you?
God loves football? Pretty sure it means God loves football.
You never want to say he's on your team, but I'm pretty sure there might be some orange and blue up there somewhere.
Well, what Spurrier says, you know that God's a Gator because, the sun is orange and the sky is blue.
So he doesn't know this. I'm going to tell the folks who are watching, the 2 people, I can see you there waiting to the end. I have been to 300 Gator games.
Wow.
In my life, including the one I want to forget the most, the one in the desert that we're not going to talk about today.
The 95 game?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And it's been a really fun thing. If you're a Gator fan, the best advice I can give you as a lawyer is go to a road game.
Correct. Yeah, we love going to Louisiana. We stay in New Orleans, go to Baton Rouge, or go to Charleston and then drive over to Columbia, or stay in Columbia for a South Carolina game.
It was really something. So when we went to Holtz, when he was winless, we went to Columbia. The fans were great. The stadium was full to the end. And when you walked around, they loved the game. And I think the only thing that you could match that is probably going to be, we don't play them enough, is Texas A&M. When we were walking around campus, lost, there was a young lady and her boyfriend. They said, we'll walk you to the stadium. They walked us a mile to the stadium. Like, are you going in? No, we just thought we would walk you to the stadium. And they turned around and away they went.
Yeah, SEC fans are really nice. My son Kerry and myself took a road trip for the first Texas A&M SEC game against the Gators.
Yep.
And we were fortunate enough to come out with a win that game. And, so Mark bleeds orange and blue, as you can tell. He's what you would call, a Gator fanatic. And he's earned it, though, because when he was a student here, Mark was very involved with Blue Key and many other organizations. He loves being a Gator, and there's a lot to be said for that.
And I had a dog named Five Wide.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, that was the Spurrier empty backfield, so we named him Five Wide.
Okay, we are at the end of our show, and I want to thank everybody to Meldon Law and Friends, and remember, go to Meldon Law Facebook page for your free tickets, and we will see you next week on Meldon Law and Friends.